Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Another busy week here at Going In Raw. Of course, later on tonight, we'll be doing our recap, our live recap for AEW Dynamite. Tomorrow is Thursday, so we've got an NXT UK watch-along. We've got The Numbers Don't Lie, so if you want to vote on our latest wrestler to come up against Going In Raw Math, it's Kevin Nash. That was voted on by the $10 patrons, but at $5 on patreon.com/Stephen Larson, you can watch us live and vote on the numbers for Kevin Nash. That'll be going on tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and then following that at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, we are back in the Going In Raw Smash Zone, where we're going to be watching clips from all sorts of stuff and having a good old time. Last week was our first one. It was a blast, but it is a live experience only. There's no VOD of this. So if you're going to watch it, go follow us at twitch.tv/Stephen Larson, and it's a wildly good time. All sorts of stuff going on there. And then on Friday, we've got a live watch-along for Rampage. We've got GTA earlier in the day, again, for Friendos at Friendo Club TV. And then we're going to watch Phil Brooks' CM Punk return to wrestling on Friday night, do a recap of that, a recap of SmackDown. And then on Saturday, of course, SummerSlam and a recap. And on Sunday, we're just doing a watch-along for NXT TakeOver. And then we're just going to
recap that on Monday. Yeah,
we're going to recap that on Monday. We'll give you your thoughts. We'll give you guys our thoughts on what I think has potential to be match of the year, Ilya Dragunov versus Walter.
Yeah.
Should be a blast.
Should be good.
Before we get into our NXT review, we've got a couple news and notes. But before we do that, if you're watching us on the YouTube, do us a huge favor. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to us in the audio realm on your favorite podcast app, leave us a rating, review, or a comment. Really helps Going In Raw get into that algorithm and get out in front of other people. Larson, what's first up in the news today?
First up in the news, of course, Adam Cole's been in the news the last couple weeks, with regards to potentially his pending free agency, and with SummerSlam weekend almost upon us. What's today? Wednesday?
Yep.
We're like 3 days away.
Yep.
And with it, the reported expiration of Adam Cole's WWE contract. Talk is, where's he going to end up? We haven't heard anything about which way Adam Cole is leaning. Is he going to stay in WWE? Is he going to go somewhere else? But he did mention on a stream yesterday that his Twitch channel is going nowhere. These transcripts come to you from Wrestling Inc. This is what Adam Cole had to say, quote, "I love you all so much. I wish so bad that I could just stream for a few more hours, but it makes me so happy to even stream for a little bit. And it's why when I say, no matter what, there is a 0% chance that this channel is ever going away. I will never give this up. I love it with my whole entire heart, and I love you guys. That's how important you are to me, because you guys make me feel very important. There's been a lot going on lately, and I just want to make sure everyone knows this is going nowhere. This is going absolutely nowhere." So, of course, WWE last year issued a ban on Twitch streaming for main roster talents. So, assuming that ban is still in place, because as far as I recall, we haven't seen any main roster talents return to streaming on Twitch. Is this any sort of indication of which way he may be leaning?
I would think in many situations, possibly. As I've always said, and it has been proven time and time again, if WWE wants somebody enough, if they really, really want a person to stick around, that person has leverage. And so that person can then say, hey, what are you going to offer me? WWE says, look at this giant bag. It's got $1 million in it. And that person can then say, okay, that's great. I'll take it. But here's another caveat. I'm a big part of Up, Up, Down, Down. Part of that is building my Twitch stream to perpetuate that brand that's making money for you, WWE, but also for myself and a possible career after wrestling. I want to keep mine. I know you have this rule. I don't care about that rule. If you want me to stick around and not show up on AEW, where they will let me Twitch stream, you'll let me Twitch stream too. It's that simple. And WWE will just make an exception for him. So I think that in most cases, yeah, that might be an indication. In Adam Cole's case, no, not at all. Because if they want him bad enough, then they'll throw it in the contract that he can continue to Twitch stream.
Well, assuming that, WWE is willing to bend that rule. You know?
Of course, yeah, that's the entire point.
And
sure.
Who knows if they are? We don't know. We
know.
We haven't seen anybody else.
The thing is, they've bent plenty of times on other things in the past.
They have. We just haven't seen them bend on this particular issue quite yet.
But nobody has come up that of this level that, if the report's true that they're going to give him $1 million, they've offered $1 million. Nobody on that level was ever streaming before. So this is an unprecedented thing.
AJ Styles was streaming. He's at Adam Cole's level. He probably makes more than $1 million a year.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But I don't know if his deal was coming up at the time.
No, he just signed a new deal. I think he signed a new deal just a few months before the ban was issued. But I mean, if it's a situation where Adam Cole gets that exception, then I guess that gives AJ potential ammunition to go into Vince's office and say, you gave this guy the exception. What about me?
Yeah. Every situation is different. We don't know. Like, and the thing is, if this is something that Adam Cole really does covet, he's the kind of name, WWE really seems like they want him, that you got to feel like, hey, they might actually bend for him. So no, I kind of feel like it doesn't mean much of anything. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is kind of interesting that we haven't seen, and who knows, like I said, a lot of times these things happen at pay-per-views when everybody's around and everybody's gathered and they can bring whoever needs to be in the room to sign these new deals. So yeah, I don't know if he's going to sign or not, if he's going to re-sign. If he does, we'll probably find out about it on Monday. I'd imagine maybe even Sunday after SummerSlam, because I'd imagine wouldn't shock me if it happened there.
Yeah. I would think Monday we might get some indication one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. Let's talk about NXT specifically. Changes that have been rumored to be in the horizon in the near future for NXT. Of course, Tyler Rust was recently released by WWE. He spoke to Wrestling Inc. and talked about the rumors of changes coming to NXT, a power struggle within WWE about the future of NXT. This is what Tyler Rust had to say. This is from Wrestling Inc. Quote, honestly, I think they're just speculation personally because the vibe around NXT has always been good. It's always been very controlled. When we did move to Tuesday, for example, it was made very clear that, hey, this is a total network thing. This doesn't have anything to do with the Wednesday night deal. I know there's a lot of rumors now as far as Vince wanting to overhaul the NXT product and everything. Sometimes rumors, maybe they're right. We'll see how it's going forward from there. But from my experience there wasn't really many eggshells as far as upper management not being happy.
Yeah, interesting point. What do you take away from that?
I mean, I don't know. Tyler Rust wasn't there very long.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Less than a year, I think. And as he says himself, it was always very controlled. And I'm sure if it's a situation where, management NXT wanted to try to insulate talent from whatever's going on, I would imagine they're probably pretty effective about that or with that, in terms of letting that, kind of whatever tension might be going on in upper management, not allowing that to seep into the locker room. I don't know. I'm not there. I can only go by what he's saying here. But I mean, again, until we see changes in the product and our TV screens, rumors are just rumors.
Mm-hmm.
And, nothing until something is official. We have to say, well, it's just a rumor for now, So yeah. If it plays out and we see a complete overhaul in NXT after TakeOver, all right, apparently there's some truth to the rumors. And if NXT just kind of continues on how it's been going for the last couple of years with no real changes, all right, I guess that nothing, either there wasn't anything much of the rumors to begin with, or they changed their mind,
Yeah, absolutely. I would suspect, this is just my feeling, they might do some sort of, we talked about this a little bit in the pre-stream, so Twitch chat is going to be a bit redundant for you guys, but sometimes the main thing that was sort of, so there's been two things that's sort of been rumored, is that number one, they're changing their philosophy on who they're bringing in, on, new talents there at the Performance Center on NXT. Bigger dudes, younger dudes that they're going to sort of build from the ground up, right? The other thing that was rumored is that NXT is going to go through a bit of a rebrand. Specifically, PW Insider, I think it was, said there's going to be a new logo and a new lighting setup.
Yeah, like a new presentation for the show.
Yeah, new presentation for the show. It's entirely possible they can do all that stuff without a hard reboot of what we know of as NXT. Now, it does seem like, I mean, just given that Adam Cole does seem to be either landing in one of three places, Raw, SmackDown, or AEW, he's going to be gone, and he's sort of been the face of the current, of like the last 3 or 4 years of NXT, right? People are moving on. People are getting called up. There's new people they're introducing in the breakout tournament. And so some people are being let go, unfortunately, as well. So there does seem to be a shift that you can see in terms of new people. Like Josh Briggs this week, we saw him have a match against Cameron Grimes. He took the loss, but he's a big dude. Like Cameron Grimes is not a short guy, but this guy made Cameron look like a smaller dude. When they're face to face, Briggs looked a couple inches taller than Cameron Grimes at least. He's a tall guy. You got Odyssey Jones, of course, but then they sort of threw a swerve at us. Instead of Duke Hudson, it's going to be Carmelo Hayes in the finals here against Odyssey Jones, which is a great smaller dude against a bigger dude. That should be a fun match. It's entirely possible, because they're going hard on this Indy Dexter stuff. There are some things that it feels like they are entrenched in with NXT right now that don't seem like they're going to be going away anytime soon. And I just wonder if there might be some directive from Vince at the top to tell Triple H, hey, we tried it this way. And then AEW came around, and they kind of stole the thunder from what we were trying to do. Time to reevaluate if that's the direction we want to go. And I'm not saying there isn't some petty personal politics, because you still can't explain the Kross stuff. Although maybe they were trying to tell a story there. And then stuff happened and it didn't work out.
Typical Vince fashion. Obviously the Jeff Hardy getting COVID thing obviously threw a wrench in that situation. But yeah, it seemed like, okay, well, that changed. So we'll just change our mind and do something else now. That's what it seemed to be.
It's entirely possible. It's possible that there was some petty politics going on and he was trying to big league Triple H. I don't know. You and I were not there, Yep. It's entirely possible Vince is like, hey, this isn't working. We need to try something else. Let's try some big dudes. Remember back when you were wrestling Triple H? Remember when Billy Gunn just seemed like another normal person? Let's go back to that. If you look at Billy Gunn,
humongous.
He looks like a damn statue. He's huge.
Yeah, he's legit 6'4", 280 pounds of chiseled muscle.
But when he's up against dudes like Kane back in the day, he looks like an average-looking guy. He ain't average.
Like a PWG wrestler.
Right. Yeah, he looks like Kyle O'Reilly, right?
Yeah.
He looks like Fuego. So it's entirely possible. Vince's like, hey, we've got let's try to flex some recruitment muscle and bring in some big dudes. And if AEW's cool having champions that are 6 feet, let's have champions here that are more like Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley than they are over there in AEW. And so maybe that's the directive and everything's fine. We just don't know. Maybe everything's a shit show. We don't know. This is an interesting quote from Tyler Rust, though, because if there are some waves over there in NXT, at least from his perspective, he didn't catch them.
Yep.
So it's interesting to get that kind of vibe,
Yep. Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Several years ago, while dealing with severe anxiety, I learned the importance of talking to a therapist, but also discovered that it can be extremely difficult to find the right person to talk to. Today, BetterHelp is providing a safe and private online environment where your needs will be assessed and you'll be matched with your own licensed personal therapist.
BetterHelp isn't a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, all without having to ever sit another uncomfortable waiting room.
BetterHelp is dedicated to facilitating great therapeutic matches. Send your counselor messages at any time or schedule regular weekly phone or video sessions. And they made it free and easy to change therapists if needed.
And you don't have to limit yourself to counselors in your area. BetterHelp services are available worldwide, so you can find the expertise you need regardless of location.
We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Going In Raw listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/raw. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health.
Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Craig. You know, Steve, I feel like I want to take up a new hobby. You know, I want to make stuff out of wood with these hands of mine.
Yeah.
But I honestly have no idea where to start.
So you want to get into woodworking, huh? Larson wants to get into woodworking. Well, I was once like you, man. I was feeling the urge to craft something with these hands of mine, but unsure if I could do so. But then I got these hands on a Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro. Craig has been the innovator and leader in pocket hole joinery, setting the standard for 30 plus years. And now, if I got my Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro and a drill, I feel like I can build nearly anything from bookcases to desks to outdoor patio furniture.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I had no idea. Please tell me more. Tell me more.
Man, all right. Listen. Pocket hole joinery is a way of creating fast, simple, and strong joints in a variety of wood projects. And the Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro makes it easier than ever. You know me, man. I've never been terribly handy, and the thought of building something out of wood with these hands of mine seemed like a pipe dream. But after going to craigtool.com, that's K-R-E-G tool.com, and getting my hands on a Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro, I can build pocket hole projects anytime, anywhere.
Oh, wow. That's pretty neat, Steve.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Question, though.
What?
Can you build me a bookcase?
No, Larson. No, I'm not going to build you a bookcase because you can do it. Now anyone, even Larson, can easily create perfect and strong pocket hole joints with the Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro. It works with a wide variety and size of material and is great for building all types of indoor and outdoor wood projects.
The Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro comes with everything you need and retails for just $99.99. It's available nationwide at Home Depot, Lowe's, and other home centers, woodworking, and hardware stores. Learn more at craigtool.com. That's K-R-E-G tool.com.
Again, that's craigtool.com, K-R-E-G tool.com.
Before we get to the recap, let's talk TakeOver now. I know Steve likes to say titles don't only be defended once a month, but I'm throwing this out here. I got Big Red over here. I got that championship right now. I'm going to defend it at SummerSlam because it's the marquee show of the weekend.
Yeah,
but also, I'm saying it right now. When I retain at SummerSlam, I'm going to put it up for TakeOver too.
Okay, so if I win it, you're saying I need to commit to doing that too?
I mean, I feel like that's the sporting thing to do, yes. It's a huge wrestling weekend. Raise the stakes. Have some fun with it.
Fine.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll participate.
Good.
All right, so it's up at both shows.
Yes.
Oh, man. So here's the thing, too, is that I am...
Let me ask you something. There's an Impact show Friday.
I know.
And you haven't defended that title this month, have you?
I know. That's
going to
be
do that
on
too.
The line. I know. It's terrifying because there's and our Impact Insider offered me the spoilers. And I said, no, because I think I have to. I said, no, because I think...
No,
because I got to defend that damn thing this coming Friday, and I have, against my better judgment, elected to do the honorable thing and not search for spoilers because there are some matches that I don't know what's going on. Apparently, they're setting up. There's a fatal four-way for a new number one contender between Moose, Ace. I think this is going to be set up on tomorrow's show. Yeah, between Moose, Ace Austin, Sami Callihan, and Chris Sabin, right? Who's going to be the first guy after Brian Myers take on? And this is for a big pay-per-view. It's for their Victory Road. Yeah, I don't know who's going to come out of that. It's probably going to be a bad guy. Ace Austin can kind of be either one. Sami Callihan's definitely a bad guy, but is he going to get a title shot already? Moose? Yeah. Are they going to have him take another loss to Chris? I don't know how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm defending it. I'm defending it on Friday. And when I win that, and I win Big Red, even if it's for one night only, I will achieve Ultimo status.
No, it won't be Ultimo because you don't have the Going In Raw Cup.
That's
That's part of it. We established at the very beginning of that was part of Ultimo.
No, we never. There's no Ultimo established. Ultimo.
Didn't I establish Ultimo the first time when I held the belts plus going in Rock Cup?
I know this is. I haven't even looked at the draft. I don't care about that. That means nothing to me.
Just because it means nothing to you doesn't mean it's not part of Ultimo.
You can decide what is Ultimo to you. I decide what's Ultimo to me. I don't really care.
There's got to be one objective truth about what Ultimo is.
That's where you're wrong, my friend. There is no objective truth. There is what we believe to be truth.
Oh gosh.
Agreed.
Anyways, let's make
a friendly disagreement here. I cannot wait to be Ultimo, for even if it's for one night only. All right, man, come on, let's do this.
Ultimo. You're not getting any Ultimo. Anyways,
how many titles do y'all have? I tell you how many titles I have. AEW, New Japan, Impact Wrestling, and trios now. I've got Quattro. I got 4 titles.
You don't got Big Red, and after Friday, you're not going to have the Impact one anymore. All right, let's get to this.
4 titles, baby.
First match I got here: LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes.
Yeah,
Cameron Grimes. He's totally winning this.
That math looks terrible for LA Knight. How many matches are there?
5. I got Grimes with 5.
That's a smart move on your part. I got Grimes with 5.
Oh, you're just typing in there. Okay, very well. All right, everybody's got Grimes, you and me with 5, Enforcer with 2. Next, Walter versus Ilya. Go ahead and write your pick in there. Steve, you got Ilya with how many?
I got Ilya with, this is going to be with 4. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I got Ilya with 2.
Okay.
Not that I'm not confident about it. I'm pretty darn confident. Enforcer's got Ilya with 1. There's only really one match. It's kind of a head scratcher for me. And this is the next one. Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai. Enforcer's got Raquel with 4.
Wow.
Manic pick. Who do you got, Steve?
So there was no math whatsoever this week.
Nope.
I'm going to go, listen, here's the thing. I'm going to go with who I want to win, who I think should win, who would make it more interesting for her to win. I'm going to go with Dakota Kai, and I'm going to go with 1 confidence point.
All right. Yeah, me too. That's what I had here initially. I was reconsidering. Where does the story go if Kai loses, you know?
I mean, look, they could bring people in. Kaylee Ray could show up as a face and challenge Raquel, but then, okay, they have a match, and then what? You know what I mean? This needs to be a long story, and Kai needs to win here.
And here's another thing, and Raquel teased it during their promo. She said, oh, you're going to get someone else to take my place, essentially. There's no one else like me.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That feels like an invitation for Dakota Kai to find the next Raquel Gonzalez to help her win the belt.
A new heater.
Yeah. A new heater.
Yeah.
So I'll go with Kai, 1 confidence point. 2 out of 3 falls, undisputed finale. I got Kyle O'Reilly. How many? 4 confidence points. This is Adam Cole's last match at NXT, probably.
Did I already do 3?
That means,
no, I didn't do. Okay.
That means Kyle O'Reilly's got to get that W.
Yeah, of course. I got Kyle O'Reilly with 3.
Enforcer's got Kyle O'Reilly with 5. And then finally, Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe for the NXT title. You have Joe with 2. Enforcer and I both have Joe with 3.
Okay, there we go. So not a lot of deviation, but some of the math deviates a little bit. We know
there's an upset. Yes,
we know for a fact that Grimes thing. I mean, yeah, the ones that I'm sort of like, I'm iffy on Joe. I'm not too iffy. I'm not that iffy. I think Joe's gonna win because it's like Kross is already on Raw, but then they might do a weird, like, if there's really petty politics at play, Vince could straight up say, listen, you need to keep that title on Kross, and I'm going to keep fucking him over on main roster, and Triple H has to just sort of sit there and deal with it. But I kind of don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be interesting if Joe becomes the standard bearer of that title, if he becomes like the new Bruno, until they build up somebody new. Mm-hmm. Or like maybe if they elevate Swerve to that position, because he's sort of the next in line, I guess, being the North American champion. Or I don't see Kyle O'Reilly taking it off Joe, man.
No.
God, I hope not. I am so as disinterested. As much as I liked Kyle O'Reilly before, I am so completely disinterested in his character. Like Roderick Strong at this point, like has been elevated for me, and he doesn't even talk.
Yeah. Well, there's another name potentially to take that belt off Joe, and that'd be the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne.
That'd be pretty awesome. That'd be pretty good. Yeah, I'd like that. But I
like
get the
that a lot,
feeling
too.
I get the feeling that's not the way that they're going to
No,
want
it
to
seems
go.
more likely if anybody's going to win that title or who's going to win that title first, it's going to be Ridge Holland.
Yeah. That's a possibility. I thought, all things considered, NXT had a really strong go home this week. I thought it did a decent job, a better job selling their pay-per-view than WWE did on Raw selling their pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I mentioned this during the pre-show as well. I felt like this week, we've talked with everything that's going on with NXT. We've talked about how stuff like, with the Kross shenanigans on Raw, it's difficult to take him seriously. Therefore, it's kind of difficult to take that scene seriously. It seems like Joe, as we just mentioned, is probably going to take that title off Kross, and then we'll see what happens with NXT. But it's hard to get invested in this because Kross has had such a weird journey up there on main roster whenever we see him there. So it's hard not to get distracted by that. I think this week they did a really good job mitigating the stuff that seems to be questionably relevant, and they elevated the stuff that, to me anyways, as a fan, I find very relevant. Ilya versus Walter was a strong through line this week on NXT UK. I thought that match with Roderick Strong #1 was a killer man. This is 2 of my top 5 in-ring guys right now, at least in WWE. I'm a huge fan of Ilya. Roderick Strong, his character stuff I don't really care about outside the ring, but inside, it's hard to find. I know they had 2 of the best choppers in wrestling on TV this week with Walter and Roderick Strong. Those chops were killer. They put together just a brutal physical match that I loved from beginning to end. So that was really strong to me. And then the indie stuff with Dexter, I thought was really entertaining stuff. I thought the comedy, especially being brought by Robert Stone, was a lot of fun. So those were big standouts to me. There were some things that fell a bit flat, but I thought that the strong stuff outweighed the flat stuff. I enjoyed NXT this week as a go home.
Yeah, it was as you mentioned, the especially their 2 of the 3 kind of main stories they're focusing on for Takeover. Raquel, Dakota, Ilya, Walter, and then obviously Karrion Kross, Samoa Joe. 2 out of the 3s, they did a good job of building up anticipation for that. I didn't think the Dakota Raquel side-by-side interview was bad. That format just doesn't really make for intriguing back and forth. It just doesn't.
It's rare that they're good. And sometimes I think NXT's been the one thing that I forget. Well, there was like one not long ago, I think, that was a side-by-side that was decent. Yeah. But we pointed it out because it's rarely decent. They always feel flat. Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like the most successful one they've had maybe ever was the Austin Aries Pac one.
Yeah, right.
That was really good.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, that's a good.
That was years ago. That
was ages ago. Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough to get the intensity necessary for a feud that's supposed to be as passionate, as intense as this one, when they're not standing across the ring from each other,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess that's why they tend to go with the contract signing trope so much, is because, all right, we're going to get these 2 people in the ring, and if it leads to physicality, so be it. But we got to get a segment where they're face-to-face in the ring to build anticipation for the match. And if you go to that well too often, it gets a little stale, so I get why they don't do it all the times. But it takes something special to make these side-by-side interviews work.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's the only reason why I'm like, I didn't have a lot of confidence in my pick for that match, because it's like they didn't really go out on too strong of a note. No. But oftentimes the story can play out in the ring and you forget about the build. But yeah, this has not been really the build that I think maybe originally it was envisioned as, and that sort of gives me pause, because it's like, okay, wait a second. I know Dakota Kai had a match on main event against Aaliyah, or it was a dark match, maybe. I forget which one.
It was the main event, yeah.
Okay. And maybe plans have changed and she's going to get called up, and so they're not going to go that route, and that's why the rest of the build has been a bit on the tepid side, because they know that this is going to be just another, a win for Raquel Gonzalez, and then Kai moves on. So it's hard to say. Yeah,
it's possible. It's possible. But yeah, otherwise, it was fine. Yeah, I guess I can't really think of any complaints per se.
Well, let's just dive into it. Maybe we'll find some. It started off with the Diamond Mine coming out. It had been announced earlier in the day that Kushida was not cleared to face Roderick Strong in their scheduled match tonight. So Malcolm Bivens calls Kushida a coward, says Roderick Strong still wants his match tonight, and Bivens still wants a payday. So it's time for a Diamond Mine open challenge, and Ilya answers it, and I got pretty excited early on. Oh, man, those Roderick Strong chops. I mean, Ilya's are pretty decent, but Roderick Strong's, holy crap, he's got the algorithm for that, dude. And then at one point, throughout the match, they're chopping each other. And at one point, Ilya does like this weird backhand chop, like the spinning backhand chop, and it looked like it was supposed to be to Strong's upper thigh. It looked like it might have. It looked like, from the angle, I was like, did he just chop him on the dickhead? But
might have got him in the front area.
I think it was just the thigh. And a little bit after that, when Ilya makes his way outside, you see his chest, and it's wrecked. It's wrecked. And Strong's looked like it was reddened, but not like Ilya's. Ilya's was completely wrecked.
Yeah.
It was kind of awesome. What are they calling Suzuki? Hatchman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
So Hatchman on the outside distracts Ilya near the steps. That leads Strong to sending Ilya into the steps on the outside. Strong Uranagi's Ilya on the apron during commercial. Back from commercial, Ilya takes over, hits some vicious forearms on Strong. Some nasty German suplex, one of which seemed to have landed Strong on Ilya's head, I think. Like I think he wrecked it like while he was doing the German suplex.
It looked like it, yeah.
Because he gets busted open, and all that blood spills out onto Roderick Strong's back. So I had to figure out, okay, wait a second, that's just his blood, not Strong's blood.
Yeah, because he was standing over him, you just see the blood pouring down on Roddy's back. Yeah, it was a lot.
So in the end, though, Ilya evades a jumping knee strike attempt, hits a kick, a suplex, loads up for a finish. Instead, he eats a knee, comes back with Torpedo Moscow for the win. Afterwards, Ilya calls out Walter, but Walter doesn't show up yet.
Yeah, no Walter. We get a quick shot of Samoa Joe arriving at the CWC, and then we get Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Prime Target. These things are always really well put together in terms of hyping up matches. This will be good, but as you said, the creative for Kyle O'Reilly really hasn't connected.
This story should be the biggest one in the company right now. Mm-hmm. It's just sort of the surrounding stuff that, like Adam Cole's contract stuff. I understand if you're just a viewer of NXT, you might be a bit more into this, but given the stuff that's reported, it's like, I'm more interested in, where's this guy going to show up?
You know what? I'll say this, though. Even before we heard all the stuff about Adam Cole's contract,
why do you think that is? Because I agree with you. Why do you think? Is it Kyle's character stuff? Is it the cool Kyle stuff? Because
I think that's part of it. Is Adam Cole brings the intensity when he's in there. From Adam Cole's perspective, I feel like, yes, this is a blood feud. These are two guys that want to rip the head off each other. I get that. And Kyle O'Reilly, try as he might to say the words that would make me feel that way, the subtext isn't there. You know?
Yeah.
Like when he says, "Oh, now I gotta do. Now I know I gotta go to any lengths to take you out." I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I don't buy that's how he actually feels.
Because he originally had a pretty decent promo where he said, "I sold my soul to get where I got with the Undisputed Era, and I don't like that about myself." And then he has one match, he loses, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I do have to be that person." So which is it? It's a very confused motivation.
Yes.
From that particular character. And then you sort of wrap that up with the cool Kyle stuff, which I just completely am not into.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're right. Like, even before the Cole contract stuff, it's like, I know this is going to be a great match. I know that the 3 stages of hell stuff is going to be really good. But I'm not into it the same level as I'm into any number of these other matches, to be honest with you. Like I even thought that the go home for the Grimes LA Knight stuff was pretty solid with DiBiase and Grimes, the commentary, and DiBiase saying, "Hey, double or nothing I got on Grimes," and then Knight lays out DiBiase. I don't know. It's going to be a terrific match. It's going to be really good. and maybe it'll turn me around on Kyle O'Reilly, just seeing what he can do in the ring again.
Yeah.
But the build, these are always great. Like you said, these are always great. But I like this for Cole just killing it on the promo once again. The actual story.
Yeah, like even their last match, Great American Bash, I felt like Kyle's character work kind of took me out of the. I wasn't as invested as the match that I felt like I should have been because of the character aspect.
Sure.
They can put on a great performance, but again, unless we are in complete understanding of what each character's motivation is and how that informs how they wrestle the match, then you're just watching a couple guys, doing some choreographed moves. The story isn't connecting,
Yeah. No, I
kind of felt
disagree.
that way the last match,
I don't disagree with that. After that, Joe is in the parking lot. Then Hit Row have a promo. B-Fab brings up the grill situation. Swerve talks about how this beef has gone to a whole nother level. Santos interrupts his thoughts on the Tron. He's outside. He said, you know what? Gave it a lot of thought. I understand why you burnt the mask. So I want to de-escalate things. I want to give your grill back. I'm outside here alone. My partner's totally not off camera right now. See? Yeah. And the camera doesn't move. So he's like, I'm not going to go to you because I don't trust your crew. But come on out here. I'm serious. My guys aren't here. And then Swerve is like, all right, yeah, I'm going to come outside. And his crew is like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. He's like, nah, I'm good. So Swerve goes out.
Like, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Swerve goes outside. And of course, moments after he gets outside, his dudes are totally there. They jump him, try to take, did they try to go back in his mouth? Were they trying to get back in his mouth for like an additional grill? I don't know. But they were trying to do something there. Hit Row come out. B-Fab takes a lead pipe to Joaquin and Raul. And then Swerve attacks Santos as he's approaching B-Fab, and he gets his grill back. And I didn't notice if he was immediately going to try to put it in his mouth, but I really hope he wasn't going to do that because who knows what's in Santos's pockets. I don't know what he's put in there.
I don't know. I think he just had it in his hand. I don't believe he tried to put it back in his mouth.
All right, fair enough.
That's what, at least I didn't notice it. After that, we have a digital exclusive, yet it's running on NXT TV. It's LA Knight. He's pumping iron. He's doing some bench, I believe. He talks about how he's going to miss Cameron Grimes being his butler, but he can't think of anything better than DiBiase taking that role of butler after he wins on Sundays, and he tells Grimes, go get him some water. So then while Grimes is gone, LA Knight walks up to Josh Briggs and says, hey, I'll pay you $10,000, $5,000 in advance, $5,000 after you get the job done if you beat up Grimes tonight. And Briggs says, deal. And so Grimes comes back up tonight with a bottle of water, hands it to him. Knight says, here's your opponent for the night. And that match happens later, but first we get Imperium promo. Walter's there, says tonight isn't about him or Ilya, it's about Bartel and Eichner. Bartel, because they got a tag title shot later on. Bartel says it's a night to remind everyone that MSK doesn't belong in the ring with them. Then Eichner says they'll make an example out of MSK, and Walter kind of punctuates it by saying they're there to restore the honor of this great sport.
After that, we had Cameron Grimes versus Josh Briggs. Like I said earlier, that Briggs, he's a big dude. DiBiase and Knight are on commentary. DiBiase offers up a bet on this match, which he ends up winning because Grimes ends up winning with the cave-in. Briggs was really beating his ass for a while, though, because he's a big dude just tossing him around. And seeing Grimes hit the cave-in on him was pretty fun, too. But, yeah, Grimes gets the win. DiBiase says, hey, Knight, you owe me $20,000. Yeah. So he punches DiBiase and then lays out Grimes, ensuring he's going to lose at TakeOver 35-36.
1,000%. Gets Grimes this finish on the floor.
Yeah.
I can't think of a more obvious way of saying, hey, I'm losing at TakeOver. After that, we have Johnny and Candice backstage. They're talking about the whole index situation. Indy walks in wearing an index shirt, and she talks about how her and Loomis have been seeing a lot of each other. They've been to movies. They've been in a hot air balloon. Says in the hot air balloon they made out hundreds of feet in the air, and they're thinking of getting matching tattoos. She's thinking of taking the relationship, though, to the next level, and she's putting on some gloves, kind of like the ones Dexter wears. And Johnny's like, what's the deal with the gloves? He says, if you want to take things to the next level, How about you see how you work out together in the ring? As he says that, Loomis just kind of waltzes in. He just walks. He's there. He teleports. I don't know.
Yeah.
So John asks him how long he's been standing there. Of course, Loomis says nothing. Asks him how the cake tasted last week. Indy says, "Oh, he loved it. Even had some room left for pie."
Wow.
And then Gargano, I know, says, I looked over that menu. The idea being there's no pie on the menu.
It's a metaphor.
I know.
For like Ric Flair on that train. That's what was going on, man. Zoe Stark and Io Shirai had an interview after that. And of course, this is the lamest fucking story right now. Larson, go ahead. Yeah, you got to hear
Why can't they can just tell the story in the ring without these awkward interviews? They have matches, but they'd actually have to defend their tag titles.
Dude.
And have to work out the chemistry in the ring and tell the story in the ring while they're putting on good matches, as opposed to all these awkward interview and segments in the restaurant.
Can we just be grateful that they realized that restaurant segment was terrible and they just didn't do another? Because they had another something stupid plan.
Probably.
And they didn't do it. I agree with you 100%. Number one, why is it Io Shirai doesn't like Zoe Stark? She seems like a lovely individual. Number two, why does Zoe Stark care? She's a tag team champion and Io Shirai's right. All they need to do is get along in the ring. If somebody doesn't want to be your friend, guess what? That's okay. Don't try to be their friend. I don't like any of this. I understand they're trying to give them a story. This ain't it. Let's just see them have a match. I don't even know who the number one contender is for their tag titles.
I don't think there is one.
Yeah, but can we just Maggie's got a good point here in chat. She says, my favorite part was Zoe says, we don't speak the same language. She says, I'm trying to learn Japanese. Io speaks English fine. You do speak the same language. It might not be your first language, but you speak the same language. I don't know. Anyways, after that, we had a wildly entertaining, I guess it's not Robert Stone brand anymore. It's probably Frankie Monet's group now.
Yeah, this is really well put together.
Yeah, but this is Robert Stone and Jesse Kamea versus Index. I loved the entrance for Index, how it was basically Indy. I mean, this is the thing, man. She totally has Dexter up on this pedestal, and you see it in couples all the time, especially younger couples. One person starts to sort of conform to the other person's sort of way of life, sort of their vibe. And Indy here, and I love she makes her entrance with Dexter, and, she's being all, sort of serial killer-ish. She's got the gloves on. She's like, messing with the gloves in the entrance. And then she looks down, and I think she was peeping a look at his ass on their way down the ramp, which is pretty cute. It's all pretty adorable stuff. He does the thing where he slides across the ring. She does too, but she has to basically walk on her knees to do it. And then he has
really well
the slow walk and stops, and she runs into him. It was all just really good comedy. And speaking of comedy, Robert Stone has a ponytail, Larson, and it was hilarious.
It was pretty funny. They mentioned that Steven Seagal reached out to Robert Stone, commentary did, to get some training tips, and that is what inspired Robert Stone's ponytail, Steven Seagal. There was a lot of good comedy stuff in through all this. Robert Stone especially was hilarious.
Yeah.
Early on, he's like trying to take down Loomis. Loomis is like, no. So Stone crawls out of the ring. Frankie Monet throws him back in. And then eventually Loomis goes after him. And while that's going on, Indy is taking it to Jesse. And then there's a moment in the ring where Dexter and Indy turn around, look at each other, they start walking towards each other to meet in the middle of the ring. They get laid out from behind. But by and large, Loomis and Hartwell had the advantage throughout this match. Towards the end, Jesse Kamea hits a slam on Indy, sinks on a single leg crab. Loomis is silent. This was good. Loomis is just like nodding his head at Indy. You can come over here. You can do it. Encouraging her to get to the rope. And she does. And so Jesse then kicks Loomis off the apron, and Stone gets in the ring like he's go for a plancha, and he slings himself out of the ring and just eats mat. He's like 3 feet short.
I was dying mainly because Beth Phoenix was laughing so hard at that, because I honestly don't think she knew that was going to happen, and she was laughing so hard. And Maggie's got another good point here in chat, and she's enabling Indy at every single step because Beth wants this shit to happen. Yeah. So that happens. He lays himself out doing that. So Jessie Kamea comes out. She tries to forearm Dexter. He sort of no-sells it. Indy comes out. She hits Jessie, puts her back in the ring. She hits Dexter's finish into the silence on Jessie Kamea, while Dexter does a stereo silence on Robert Stone, who's basically already out anyways. Yeah. So they end up winning the match. And then Indy goes over ringside to Beth, and Beth says, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And then he's like, yeah, I want to do this. Are you sure? She's like, "Yeah, I really do." She's like, "Okay." So Beth gives her a little tiny box. So Indy comes back in. She gets down on one knee. The crowd freaks out and basically, without words, proposes to Dexter. And
he just nods.
He nods, yes. And he looks so overwhelmingly, overwhelmed by how cool this ring was in his parlance, because it's like a freaking eyeball.
It's got an eyeball on it, yeah.
Inside, like, that's like encased in like a ring that's all jagged and metal and stuff. It really was a fun looking ring. But as far as an engagement ring goes, it's a bit unique. So he puts it on. They kiss.
Putting it, yeah.
they kiss. And of course Wade Barrett is freaking out. He's disgusted by this whole thing. Yeah. This was I had a giant smile on my face. It was so well executed. This was really good stuff.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. After that, we had a Roderick Strong interview. Before he could say a word, Malcolm Bivens steps in and says, "Hey, talk to me. Don't talk to Roddy." He says, "Ilya is a heavyweight, not a cruiserweight. So as far as he's concerned, this match never happened. It doesn't matter." But Roderick Strong is guaranteed a shot at Kushida, and that's what matters.
Yep.
It's a terrible excuse.
I didn't take many notes during this side-by-side interview because it was just sort of not... There was not a whole lot of meat here. It was Gonzalez and Kai in the side-by-side interview. Gonzalez calls out Kai, say, you use people and then you get jealous when they become a bigger star than you. Kai says, write whatever narrative you want. You can call me anything you want, but in 5 days, you're going to call me NXT Women's Champion. And then Gonzalez says, I look forward to the challenge sidekick. And then Kai just says, oh, you really went there?
Yeah.
It's like, what a terrible comeback. Like, oh... like, why don't you shoot back with something? I guess maybe there's the stand tall for Gonzalez getting that one-liner in there.
Yeah. Then we got probably the low point of the show for Steve.
Oh, man.
Duke Hudson taking that L to Carmelo Hayes. So Hayes has the early advantage. But then Duke tosses him out of the ring before a commercial break. Eventually, though, Hayes goes up top. Duke tries to rocket launch him off. Instead, Hayes counters with a roll-up that gets him a 2. Hayes hits pump kick, a code breaker, and then top rope leg drop to get the win. Afterwards, he has an interview up on the stage. He says 2 weeks ago he called his shot. He said he was going to make it to the finals, and he kept his word. And through this whole thing, he's been going through dudes taller than he is. 1 foot, 2 foot, I think. He kept on going up. He says, but that wasn't enough. And just like in the video games, he got to face the final boss. But the irony is, the twist here is, I'm the final boss against Odyssey Jones. This brings out Odyssey Jones. He laughs at Hayes calling himself the final boss. Tells him that after he wins the tournament next week, all of NXT is going to be sounding the alarm.
That's a great phrase. Who wins this match, man? What's your prediction on this one?
I'm still going to go Odyssey Jones, and here's why. I feel like Carmelo Hayes has already had a bunch of TV time. Like, even before the tournament started, he had several matches. He had a match against Adam Cole, a couple other matches. In terms of this tournament establishing a true breakout star, in terms of someone that we're not familiar with, maybe, I know Carmelo Hayes hasn't had a ton of matches. I mean, really, this match is going to be a real indication about the future of NXT. Are they going to go with the larger dudes, the taller dudes? Or are they going to continue rolling with the guys they've been bringing in NXT for the last few years?
That's a good point. That's not a terrible point.
It's obviously they like Hayes a lot. He's really good.
Like Hayes is more ready, I think.
He's more established. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I mean, this will say a lot, won't it? You're totally right. Like, if they're going to go with dudes who are a bit more green, but they fit the physical bill of what they want, then Odyssey will totally win this. I don't know. I mean, if I had to make a prediction, if I put my 300 bowling ring up for this, I don't know which way I'd go.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. Like, Hayes' promo was really good. I was like, oh, whoa, you're the final boss. I thought you were saying that, but then you are. What a great. So, I mean, it seems like he's going to be. Is he going to work this match heel? Be kind of interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
don't know. I mean,
more established.
I don't know. If you want to have, like, I guess, in my mind, the term breakout is someone that you're not that familiar with, who really takes a jump to the next level, and just based on what we've seen on NXT, and yes, with Carmelo Hayes, it's not like he's wrestled 20 matches. It's been like 5, maybe before the breakout tournament, if that. But I feel like we have a good sense, because even Carmelo Hayes, he got one of those little introductory video package where he talked about himself a little bit. I feel like we know him better than we know Odyssey Jones, obviously, because we've seen more of him. So, but I don't know. Honestly,
here's what I think is going to be. This is going to be the finish. Carmelo Hayes is going to have the advantage for most of this because he's faster and he's going to be able to chop down Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones's finish is a really cool one. It's sort of like he turns something into an Uranagi, basically, right? I think Carmelo Hayes is going to load up that top rope leg drop, and Odyssey Jones is going to catch him and hit his finish, and basically it's going to be the catch you finish, So, and then Odyssey Jones is going to get the pin with that. That's how I think that finish is going to go, because the finishing move sort of sets up Odyssey Jones's move. That's probably what they're going to do.
Potentially, yeah. Romus Chillin said, not counting breakout tournament, Hayes has only had 2 matches against Kushida and Adam Cole. So
they have sort of set up Odyssey as sort of the newer guy in terms of total width and breadth of their careers, though. I feel like, anyways. I feel like Odyssey, you're probably right. Odyssey's probably going to get the win here. I wonder, it's kind of interesting that Duke Hudson took a pretty clean loss against Carmelo Hayes. I don't know what that says.
They're super high on Carmelo Hayes,
Yeah, totally, which is great because he's good.
Yeah, he is good. He is really good. Yeah, but I don't know. I could see it going either way. I can see it going, because you could use you approach it from this. They've obviously been setting up that they're huge on Hayes. He's had matches against Kushida and Adam Cole, 2 huge names in NXT.
Yeah.
They could obviously be telegraphing even before the breakout tournament starts. This is our breakout guy for the next year.
He can look better in a loss than Odyssey can look better in a than Odyssey can in a loss. If Odyssey loses, it's not a great look because this is a smaller dude. If Carmelo loses, especially getting caught like that, it's not terrible, especially if he's dominating the match the entire time. So. Look at that. We just figured it out.
Odyssey Jones wins.
After
that, we had a JC Jane video package, dropping a bit of a promo, talking about we. So I imagine this is both her and Gigi Dolan.
Well, at the end, she put the rose down next to the Gigi Dolan rose from the week prior. So yeah, this is the what's her face, Mandy Rose. There's going to be a rose metaphor in the group name in there.
Yes. What's a good rose pun?
Stone Roses.
Name? The what?
Wasn't that the name of the band, the Stone Roses?
Yeah, Stone Roses. That was the name of it.
That's just a trademark violation, though.
Probably.
There you go. Oops, sorry, says the Rosebuds. Hey, bring back Adam Rose. That dude's Jack.
Yeah.
I don't know. The rose petals. There you go. That's terrible. RTG, thank you. Guns N' Roses, that's a good one. Night by Night's got that. The Rose Garden. That's terrible. These are all terrible names, everybody.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyways, after that, we have Cameron Grimes using the trainer's room. Ted DiBiase walks in. DiBiase's like, hey, maybe we bit off more than we could chew. I'm sorry, Cameron, for putting you in this position. And Grimes says, are you kidding me? You got to be joking me. I got myself in this mess. I came into a lot of money, and then I lost my mind. I wanted to be $1 million champion. Ted, you gave me that opportunity. You gave me the opportunity to be champion. Sadly, I dropped the ball repeatedly, but when I stopped believing in myself, the $1 million man was there to believe in me. He rips off his butler shirt. I am not a butler. I'm a champion. I'm $1 million champion, and after TakeOver, they will be $1 million champions going To the moon. Imperium says, I'm back, baby.
I'm back, baby. I'm back, baby. After that, we had MSK versus Imperium.
Good match.
That's what I have in my notes here. Good match. Walter comes down mid-match. Ilya attacks Walter as he helps distract the ref, but MSK are able to take advantage of all that to get the pin on Eichner. Walter then beats the shit out of Ilya. Wesley tries to make the save, eats a massive chop that just completely kills him, and then Walter very safely powerbombs Nash onto the apron. Ilya comes too, but he can only handle Imperium so long as Walter chops him down, and they all stand triumphantly over Ilya Dragunov, your next NXT UK champion.
Seems highly likely. After that, we get a Pete Dunne promo. It says, hey, we warned y'all. So let what happened to Ilya last week be a warning as to what's going to happen if you step up to us. Ridge Holland tells Thatcher and Ciampa, he says, I don't care how long you've been doing this, but I do respect that you have bollocks big enough to challenge me. And Dunne says, well, maybe they're just stupid. Anyways, Ridge is talking about how he's pushed past tough men just to get to another fight. Dunne says, hey, you've waited 10 months. Time to make a name for yourself. I like that he threw that in there because that's what Triple H told.
Oh, he's obsessed with that phrase, yeah.
Yeah, and Ridge says, I'll see Ciampa next week.
Wade Barrett's really into that. After that, Joe came out, basically said, tonight he's not here to hurt Kross's feelings, so I'm not going to say a lot. And then Joe says, he says, get out here, Kross. And so Kross comes out, and he calls out NXT's main event scene from 2023. He says, this security is not for me, though, Joe. It's protection for you. And he asks Joe, you really think you have a shot at TakeOver? I think I'm going to drop you first, Joe. I'm going to drop you fast. And then Joe, didn't he headbutts him, I think, didn't he? Yeah, he headbutts him, sends him out of the ring. Suicide dive onto Kross and NXT's finest from 2024. Throws him into the barricade. Security holds Joe back, allowing Kross to get a shot in. He clears the table, tries to go for Doomsday suplex on the table, but Joe counters, dumps him over the barricade, and then Kross runs Joe back through a different barricade. And there you go. Therein lies your NXT.
Yep, that was the show.
That's the thing.
That was the show.
Let's go ahead and let's go. I can't get that picture of Ric Flair out of my head. You gotta make an emote of that.
Oh gosh, talk about terms of service violation.
I'll do it over at MF Steve here.
All right, very well. Let's answer a few questions. Oh, Legendarius BC with the sub. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Legendarius BC. Let's see if we have any questions here. I'll put up the NXT QA thread a little late. Yep.
Broken Wheelchair says, I know nothing about contracts. Do non-compete clauses only apply for when people leave or are released before their contract is up? I think that would be the situation is if you are released or before the term of your contract, depending where you are, there's either a 30 or 90-day no-compete. If you're on NXT, it's 30. That's the standard. Standard on main roster is 90 days. Although apparently WWE has been recently cool with negotiating an early out for that. If your contract expires, I believe the very next day, you can go anywhere you want.
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. Let's see here. David Matushek says, do you think it's a shame that some people who have not watched Ilya Dragunov in NXT UK think he may be booked weak when taken out of context? I don't know. Is it a shame? I don't know. I think people should be watching some NXT UK because if they're not, they're missing Ilya Dragunov. He's great.
Yep. Rome is chillin' says the change from recruiting aspect makes perfect sense, but I can't see the television product changing much as long as they are airing Tuesday nights in prime time from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on USA Network. I guess the thing is, we're used to a certain thing in terms of in-ring action in NXT.
Yes.
And a lot of that's because you got a lot of really experienced competitors in the ring who have traveled the world, plying their trade, and they're really good at what they do. If the focus now is on bringing in wrestlers with not a lot, if any, prior in-ring experience, is the level of in-ring competition going to be as high as it has been historically for NXT? That's what's kind of the only thing that could maybe change.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing that could potentially change, like worst case scenario, would be takeovers. I don't know that we'd be getting banger match after banger match after banger match. Now, I think that's kind of I think that's probably an extreme worst case scenario, because if they do keep people like Carmelo Hayes in there, I have no doubt that guy, I don't know about Odyssey Jones, but I have no doubt if they put Carmelo Hayes and, I don't know, Trey Baxter into a takeover ring, they could kill it for 20 minutes. They could do an absolutely killer job. If they keep some of the dudes that are still there, like Roderick Strong, et cetera, I think it'll be totally fine. You'll have those guys around to teach these big dudes. You know, Brock Lesnar puts on some pretty damn good matches, you know, and if that's the goal, hey, let's get a bunch of big dudes who can put on some really good matches like you have. I'm sorry, man, but dudes like Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, those guys can put on really good matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's probably much ado about nothing. And in fact, there was a stretch of time, I remember a couple of years ago, when NXT went through a phase of like having their television show be 2 hours of like 20-minute matches, which, yeah, they're great, but it was really light on story. And so it's like, sometimes like just having those long ass matches, which technically are very good, but they're light on story, it kind of gets old after a while. So I don't know. Maybe a change of direction is going to be beneficial to the NXT product. And here's the thing. If Vince McMahon is like, hey, if there's no longer that sort of like, okay, well, are they a third brand or are they not a third brand? If they're just free to do their thing and you've got this new directive of, hey, let's get big guys in here. Okay, maybe there will be a window of time when NXT is free to do some cool shit, and you won't have to worry about Vince meddling around so much and calling people up out of nowhere. I don't know. Maybe it'll be fine, or maybe it'll be worse. I don't know. I guess I don't think anybody will really know until we're in the thick of it.
So Ric Flair just put a thing up on Twitter.
Yeah.
It says this picture is as real as the other one floating around. The Nature Boy doesn't ride trains.
What's the other one floating around?
The one I sent you.
Oh. So there was a picture.
Yeah, there's a picture of like it's a Photoshop of like a cartoon train where someone put his head over the conductor.
Okay.
Right.
So he's referencing. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I got you. That is absolutely hilarious.
Jaime Fonseca with the sub for 11 months. Thank you so much.
He doesn't ride trains.
Edub says Joe and Brock had a good side-by-side before their match at Great Balls of Fire. That's right, and that's the one where Joe took off his mic and tried to storm into Brock's room with Heyman.
Joe can do no wrong. Anthony R. says, no, that was too much brain power, Anthony R. Sorry. Darius Johnson, an alternate universe. See, this is the way to my heart. In an alternate universe, a Triple H variant decides to leave WWE following the power struggle with Vince to create a new promotion alongside Shawn Michaels, known as Click Pro Wrestling. The roster starts off with most recently released WWE talent and free agent Adam Cole, who is booked to be the first champion, mid-card champion, tag team champions, and women's champion. So you got
Adam Cole. You bring him in to be your first champ.
Be Adam Cole. I say Bronson Reed is your first champ, and they do the Adam Cole like they did Kenny Omega in AEW, where they wait a little while to make him champion. So you got Bronson Reed as your first champion, but Adam Cole is there. Tyler Rust is there. Asher Hale is there. Mojo. They sign away Asuka. Where has Asuka been? I hope they rebrand her.
All right, good. That's all good stuff. Night by Night says, recently you took up the art of blacksmithing. What NXT superstar do you ask to be your apprentice and help you forge high-quality swords?
Let's see here.
NXT superstar, so it can't be Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
We know he has an affinity for swords.
I'm going to go with... I mean, I wonder if, metallurgy, if blacksmithing is something Swerve is knowledgeable on, given that he's got those grills that have to be specially made to fit his mouth. I don't know if those have to be specially made or not.
trying to think of a good answer. Sorry, I had thought, and then I was like, nah.
It just disappeared, went away. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it did. It did. I'm gonna say Roderick Strong because he doles out those knife edge chops.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. Dabbing with Dan says, "Oh, I just had my baby boy. That's awesome. Congratulations."
Congratulations.
Rosie Knight says, "What do y'all see happening at the Index wedding?"
It's going to be an absolute catastrophe.
It's going to be.
That's what wrestling weddings are.
Yeah, it's going to be a total disaster. It's going to be great. But I think the wedding, will they actually tie the knot? Yes or no?
No.
I'm going to say yes.
All right. Dangum Q and kayfabe, what happened to the blood on Ilya's face? All that just went poof.
Yeah.
It's disappeared between a couple of replays.
He drank it. He just went.
Wow. Okay. Mr. Sinister, is that the reason Ruby Purple? Oh my god.
Is that the reason Ruby purposely missed the train? She was like, smells like butt. Not doing that one. I'll wait for the next one. And then Adam Scherer comes up. Ruby. Choo choo. Choo choo. She's like, no.
No. Jimmy Thomas in kayfabe, who will be the bridesmaids and groomsmen for Dexter Lumis? He should ask Gargano to be one.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
The Gargano's dog should be part of the ceremony.
That's good.
Of course, Indy will ask Candice.
Loomis should just show. Oh, well, Loomis needs to show up with the zombie ref.
Good.
Cameron Grimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think hopefully they've made up.
Yeah.
And then just some like random weirdos, like some dudes he pulls off the street. It's like, who are these guys?
Yeah. Shane's birthday tweet, shouldn't have Joe and Kross been a Street Fighter no DQ match since the way it's booked. They want to kill each other. They probably could have and should have, but they probably want to save all the super violent stuff for that blood feud they have between Adam Cole and Kylo.
That's a really good point. Joe should have said, listen, I'm going to hit you where it hurts the most. Mat-based wrestling, you and me. And Kross is like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Wrestling.
White Brownie, let's say there's plans for NXT to get a fresh coat of paint after TakeOver. What would you like to see from a presentation standpoint change? Go back to Full Sail.
There you go. I want them to be like a traveling tent show. Like I want like an old timey wrestling setup where they do it like intense, no rings, just like a dirt. It was like that episode of The Nick.
Yeah.
You know, just like a bunch of people. It's like a fight pit, basically, but not like the NXT fight pit.
No, like a real fight pit.
Right. And then like the logo is just like drawn on a piece of canvas and somebody's holding it up.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'll say this, though, like to legitimately answer the question. Maybe get rid of the black and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little bit more color. You know, I don't know what this scheme could be. But just it's more color, you know, some pinks and teals, perhaps.
Maybe work in some red and blue because
that's
you
good.
can see the superstars of tomorrow be on Raw and SmackDown, but you can see them today in NXT.
So it's purple.
Yeah, purple. Yeah, red, blue do make purple.
I don't like purple.
I know you don't like purple. Maybe someone else likes purple.
Nobody likes purple.
I don't like purple.
You don't like purple. RTG.
I don't mind it.
For those clean-minded people, what kind of pie did Dexter eat? Oh, man, Indy baked him an amazing banana cream pie. That sounds so good. I'm so hungry right now.
Yeah? Should go get some lunch. Should you not have lunch?
No, I don't eat. I have breakfast at like 10, and then I wait till we're done here to have lunch.
Gotcha.
I'm going to be all like burping my way through a program.
No, that's me. I take care of that.
We already got one of those here. Yeah, exactly. So come on, what kind of pie?
Like today I had a veggie burrito before lunch. And some Fritos.
I like that you said before lunch. You meant for lunch.
For lunch, yeah. Sorry, I got a headache right now. Had some guacamole and some salsa on top of the burrito, put in the air fryer.
What's your problem, man? I just said I'm hungry. You're making it even worse now. That sounds amazing. What kind of pie did Dexter eat, dude? God, apple pie sounds so good right now.
Apple pie? I was going to say fresh strawberry.
Yeah, that's good.
'Tis the season for some fresh strawberry pie.
Cool up on that shit. That sounds like some vanilla ice cream. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Zondo, if Regal decides he wanted a new enforcer since Samoa Joe left, what release superstar would you pick? Oh, it's Braun Strowman. You bring in Braun Strowman to be your enforcer.
What a great rebrand here from Zondo. He calls him Sonoma Joe. He'll be from wine country.
Yeah, wine aficionado.
That's great. Oh, man. Yeah, Frito pie. That's good. All right, anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for like a cheeseburger pie. Oh, man. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.